This lesson is on finding the surface area of pyramids, and more specifically square pyramids, which is really the type of pyramid you'll find the surface area of in most cases. So it is important that you know the parts of a pyramid. We know the base. It only has one base, and the base it sits on is a square. The vertex is the point where all the lateral faces come together, all those triangles come together. It's the tip of the pyramid. The height of the pyramid is the distance from the vertex to the center of the base. We will use that dimension when we find the volume of pyramids. We will not use that dimension for surface area. So here's where you need to be careful. The slant height is the area of one of the triangles. And we need that because we'll be finding the area of one of the triangles in order to compute the surface area, which again is just the area of all of the surfaces of the pyramid. So be sure you understand these parts. And this came straight from your textbook, so you can go back and take a look at that. All right, so here's your formula. The surface area of a pyramid is equal to the area of the base plus 1/2 times the perimeter of the base times the slant height. Notice where the slant height is located. It's on the outside of the figure. It has a good name because it's a slanted line. And they use the lowercase cursive letter L to indicate the slant height. So let's go ahead and find the surface area of this particular pyramid. Okay, so first is finding the area of the base. And we know that the base is shaped like a square because it tells us in the directions find the area of the square pyramid. So the area of the square is just length of the side squared, and that's equal to 256. Now, the perimeter of the base, remember what perimeter is, the distance around a figure, and this figure is a square. It has 4 sides. Each side is 16 inches. So the perimeter of the base then is 64 inches. So now we're ready to find our surface area. Surface area equals area of the base plus 1/2 perimeter. And now we have to put in the slant height. And if you notice in this figure, there are 2 heights. There's the height of the pyramid and the slant height. Can you see which one is the slant height? Remember, it has a good name, slant height. So the slant height is 17 inches. And at this point, you can just put all this information in your graphing calculator because it knows order of operations. If you're not using a graphing calculator, you'd probably want to compute this first and then add 256. 256 plus, I'm going to type in 0.5 in my calculator. It's quicker, times 64, because 0.5 is equal to 1/2, times 17. And so the surface area of this figure is 800 inches squared. It's still area. We're still squaring our unit of measure because we're multiplying 2 different dimensions. So we'll try one more. And you might be able to notice the difference in this figure. It's 2 things that aren't labeled. We don't know the length of the side of the square. We need that to find the area and perimeter of the base. We also don't know the slant height. So if you recall in class when I showed you that pyramid, that red triangle on the inside, Okay, and you could see that, and here they draw the triangle. Here's our height, goes from the vertex to the center of the side, and that's 24 feet. And then remember where this segment goes. It starts at the center of the square. That's key. The center of the square and goes to the edge. Okay, because this segment, so now we have the two legs of the right triangle, and we can figure out the hypotenuse. So we get our slant height. We have to use our Pythagorean. 24 squared, leg squared, plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. Okay, so we get 24 squared is 576. 10 squared is 100. That's going to give us c squared. So 676 is equal to the hypotenuse squared. And the square root of 676 is 26. So there's our slant height. So just be careful with that. All right, now we're ready to find our surface area. Oh, no, we're not, because we need to find the area of the base. Well, the base is shaped like a square. We're not given that dimension. We're not told the length of the sides of a square. But we do know from the middle of the square to the edge is 10 feet. So what's the distance all the way across the square? It's 20 feet. Again, since this segment starts in the middle and goes to the edge, it's halfway across the square. So we have a square that's 20 by 20. So the area of the base is side squared, or 400. And the perimeter of the base, remember it's a square, it has 4 sides. We're trying to find the perimeter, which is the distance around that square. So each side is 20 feet, and 4 times 20 is 80. So now we're ready to find our surface area. Surface area equals area of the base plus 1/2 perimeter, that's an 80, times slant height. So I'll go to the calculator. 400 plus half, 80, times 26, and I get 1,440 feet squared. So that time we did have to use our Pythagorean theorem to find our slant height. So just watch. You won't have to do that all the time, but you may have to do that sometimes.